Hello everyone, and welcome back to Dragalia Foundry, a fan channel where everything Dragalia Lost can be found. This video is going to contain a quick look at my preparations for Lilith's Encroaching Shadow, our new endgame content. That content was originally planned for release last week, but it was delayed, and it was only delayed a week, so it's actually coming out this Friday. I've been trying my best to prepare, and in this video I'm going to show my weapon collection as well as my facility levels. And I wanted to make this in part because I've done a couple other milestone videos like this. A while back, I showed off 18 months of collecting augments when I finally had obtained a max Wyrmprint collection with max augments. A few weeks later, I hit level 200, max player level in Dragalia Lost after playing for, I don't know even how long it was, maybe like 860 days, something like that. But for a long time, since day one, I finally hit level 200 earlier this year. And once again, I'm at one of those kind of crossroads. So recently, I've just about finished my weapon collection along with most of the weapon bonuses. Still missing a small handful of core weapon bonuses, waiting on Crimson Cores and Twinkling Sands for those. But effectively, this is the closest I've ever been to caught up with the weapons in a long time. And so I wanted to share that and just talk about my strategy and my approach, how I've gone about this. It has been 6 months since the weapon bonus system came out, and at first it seemed like an insurmountable amount of rupees and orichalcum and Crimson Cores now that I would need to obtain. Even Twinkling Sands were in short supply. But it really was very manageable by just playing consistently over the past 6 months or so, which obviously is a lot of time to sink into something, so don't want to downplay it. It does take a lot of time to build up a weapon collection. But still, wanted to share that, as well as sort of take a look at what's going on with Lilith. I've actually managed to avoid data mines and spoilers for the most part. The one thing I've heard is that you may need a healer. That's like literally all I know about Lilith and what her fight is going to look like. And I'm excited to go in blind on Friday, especially since it's solo only. Just kind of want to check it out for myself before I really look into like the best strategies and what other people are doing. I just think it's more fun that way. You'll get to see my reaction to the fight as well whenever I post that on Friday or Saturday. But yeah, that's my plan. So let's start off by taking a look at what's coming with Lilith, and we'll go into the weapon collection aspect of this. And of course, I do want to just briefly mention, like, we got this preview today, Ageless Artifice, robot waifus. I mean, I don't think I really need to say anything else. Okada is no mercy right now on our wallets. All of these banners have been so killer the past several months. Like, there has not been a bad banner outside of that one Dragon Special that we had. And now, to bait us even further after we had Rosarda plus John, and then we had Ferris plus Gabrielle, like, to bait us even further, we have the two robot android waifus on here that look like crossover characters from Xenoblade 2. I mean, what are we gonna do, y'all? I know that I have to save. Like, I have no resources left or money to spend on Dragalia Lost after ending up summoning for Jeanne d'Arc, so it's not really an option for me. I'm gonna try save for the Gala and hopefully get Gala Knot at the end of the month during the 2.5 year anniversary. Maybe they'll be part of the permanent summoning pool. But yeah, Dragalia's been killing with the banners lately. One last note on this that I wanted to say was it's kind of cool that this is going to take place in the city of Grams. So hopefully this will be our first defensive battle event in a long time with actually a proper new map to do the battle on. So that should actually make this kind of cool, and I'm looking forward to it. Alright, so now let's check out the news about Lilith. Haven't really checked this out yet. It arrives Friday, 3/12. Should players manage the titanic task of repelling the demonic menace descending upon North Grastia, they will be rewarded with the ability to equip new Wyrmprints to their weapons. Alright, cool enough. Titanic task certainly caught my eye there. If you worms think one mere defeat is enough to put me down for good, then you're in way over your heads. When the insatiable desire for revenge gushes forth from the abyss between worlds, okay, other worlds happening, a hatred doomed to fester for eternity stains White Wings black. A girl eats away at the reasoning once espoused by the angelic herald of the goddess's will. Fanning the flames of a burning darkness, she is Lilith, the avatar of atrocity, masked in a veneer of innocence, and she is evil incarnate, driven to consume all existence on instinct alone. Wow, quite the description there. So we've apparently defeated this person before, and I don't remember fighting Lilith, but you never know, maybe Lilith inhabited somebody that we fought before. some of the stronger fiends that we fought before, probably like Meho Wong and maybe Sabnok. He's kind of a demon in some ways. But otherwise, if they're going to tie this to the recent events like Divine Deception and Agents of the Goddess, we know that in Agents of the Goddess, the demon that was trapped inside Otherworld Gabrielle was, what was it, Yaldabaoth, something like that. And I think also known as the Demiurge. And I guess that's not Lilith, unless maybe it's just another name for Lilith. But I guess this is a different demon. If it's tied to an angel, it's probably the one that was trapped in Ramiel earlier. Now, I really hope that we don't fight Otherworld Ramiel, because I just thought it was kind of a lame boss, like a recolor of a dragon that we have, or angel. I guess it's a dragon, but angels are dragons in Dragalia terms. So I hope it's not that. Hopefully it's Lilith herself. But we know from past previews that there's some weirdness happening between the difficulties, like you only fight the demon Lilith is what was posted earlier on certain difficulties, so apparently you fight something else in earlier fights or easier difficulty fights, so let's read on. Lilith's Encroaching Shadow Standard, 22k might, 34k might for Expert, 36k for Master. So Master seems harder than Master Agito, easier than Legend, sounds about right. The quest Lilith's Encroaching Shadow Master will only be available in solo play, but a co-op version's added in early April. Love to see it. Just hold off on the co-op. I don't need the co-op right now. My game's kind of dying in Morseati Reckoning, you know, have a lot of that left to play. I'm good on the co-op. Just give me the solo play. I find that co-op, really nowadays, I just go to the fine room and try burn the wings I have as fast as I can. There's not a lot of reason to play co-op as there used to be. Like, there's also not a particularly lucrative farm happening right now, but certainly I think if I've caught up on my endgame farming, you can only imagine the players who are like really serious about Dragalia Lost, endgame, and time attack. Like, they caught up several months before me, so now that I've kind of caught up on my weapons, I am pretty confident that like there's probably not going to be as many players around in the co-op lobbies. Of course, they would be there day one for Lilith, but alas, it's not going to be available. So I guess if you are a co-op enthusiast, I'm sorry that you have to wait. Okay, how to unlock. Players must complete Chapter 16 for 6 normal of the main campaign in order to play. New weapon slots for Wyrmprints. All right, we get a look at these here. So 2 different types of affliction res here. Skill damage plus 10% on this print and skill damage plus 10% on this print. And they have 0 nodes unlocked, so they're probably also not unbound, I would guess. 10% is probably like the 0 unbind effect that you get there, so it probably goes up to maybe 20%, which isn't bad considering these are like 2 freebie slots on top of what we already have. Players can use the materials obtained from clearing the quest Lilith's Encroaching Shadow to unlock 6th and 7th Wyrmprint slots for their light-attuned Agito weapons. Ah, so a little bit of a twist here. Nice reward for Tartarus players out there. So this only works on light-attuned Agito weapons, not even the water, which is interesting because water seems to be a preferred element for at least part of this fight. Only Wyrmprints obtained for the Rise of the Sinister Dominion quest, including Lilith's Encroaching Shadow, may be equipped in a weapon's 6th or 7th slot. Materials for unlocking the 6th and 7th Wyrmprint slots for Agito weapons of other elemental attunements will be available from future quests. One of the cool things about this, I think, the fact that it's light and water, those elements don't have Legend Agito yet. So they don't have higher level elemental trees. They don't have higher unbind weapons. And for that reason, I think that this is going to provide a nice challenge to characters in those elements, just like we've had a decent challenge with Legend Kai and Legend Volk in the Flame and Shadow elements. Now our water and light characters get in on the action as well. And I guess Wind's coming up soon, like Legend Seal is probably the next Legend Agito, so that'll give a good place to use Wind characters too. New Wyrmprints. Players can obtain special Wyrmprints from clearing Rise of the Sinister Dominion quests. This almost looks like Delphi, but Delphi has no connection. I mean, he's a tutelary, so I guess he has a connection to like sealing Morseati and maybe the binding runes. I don't remember the exact nomenclature, or maybe the blood casket, but no, not even the blood casket. He showed up in Audric's event, so I haven't read Delphi's story. I'm not exactly sure what Delphi's connection would be to this, but he's not an apostle, so this seems to be some character that looks like Delphi but isn't, but he does have this head tattoo. So I don't know. And then there's a throne here with a crown on it. These special worm prints differ from existing worm prints in two ways. They may only be equipped in a weapon's 6th or 7th slot, and upgrading them requires materials that are earned when a duplicate special worm print drops. Okay, this is kind of what we know. New mechanic, team change, the quest, Lilith Encroaching Shadow, Master features a new mechanic that causes the boss to change their elemental attunement mid-battle. When this occurs, players must adapt to this new threat by changing their team and therefore must prepare 2 teams of predetermined elemental attunements before embarking on the quest. This, to me, reads the most like mandatory elemental matching of anything I've read so far on this. Predetermined elemental attunements, that's what I'm taking away from this. Who knows if that'll mean dragons are locked as well, shared skills. They haven't gone as far as to lock those, even though that wouldn't necessarily be such a bad thing. Be sure that both of your teams are equally ready to take on this challenge. Thank you for playing Dragalia Lost. Okay, so I guess we didn't really get that much new info in this post, other than looking at some of the worm prints. And I think that some of this info is available in data, but once again, I haven't really looked at the data mine, so y'all probably know more than I do at this point about what's going on with Lilith. But now let's take a step back, and I will share my weapon progress and facility progress update. So I have been working on Morsiati Reckoning as of late, but other than that, it's actually been a couple weeks now that I've been done, as far as I'm concerned, with the weapons here. So we can take a look. I guess we'll just go ahead and start with the Agito weapons. But basically where I'm at this point is all the weapons, of course, going to be at 80 nodes, but some of the shadow weapons are going to still be at 80 and not 90. And all the flame are, of course, going to be at 90. So, you know, not quite finished with Legend Kai, but why rush it? You have the weekly chest. You want to take advantage of it until Legend Ciela releases, and then the next Legend Agito after that. I'm not in a rush to get these 90 nodes done. It's also a little bit tedious to play the Legend fights over and over, so that's not exactly my jam as far as farming. But I think otherwise, like, I haven't looked through this carefully in a while, but I think I'm good. So yeah, like, this is an example. This is an 80, you know, not quite where you want to be, but the good thing is, like, Shadow and Flame, not even used in Lilith's fight. So I should be good on that. And then I think these are done, as are these. Yeah, I think we're pretty good here. So only, only a couple of my, maybe 3 of my shadow weapons are at 90 right now. So 3 out of 9, not the best, but it's good enough for me. Haven't had any real issues with anything. And then the other thing that I haven't done, I'm not really a copies enthusiast. So I have not gone for copies. I've recommended people to generally avoid copies. This may be something that I consider over the long term. But as of now, like, it's pretty easy and pretty cheap. Like, let's say I wanted to build Ieyasu. Yes, this is 20 orichalcum. Compared to the amount of orichalcum I've already spent on weapon bonuses, that is nothing. Like, that's, you know, an easy day of grinding. So I actually feel pretty comfortable. And, like, the rupees on these, once you get to 9 unbinds, as well as the refinement for the 9th unbind, it's really downhill compared to unbinds 5 through 8 plus the weapon bonus. Those are very expensive. After that, it gets very downhill. And so even the copies, like, maybe I want to copy the Shadow Dagger because I have both Joker and Belina. They have different co-abilities. Maybe I want them on the same team. Well, you know, I only actually need 3 orichalcum and some rupees for this. It's actually not too bad at all here. So you ended up having to farm, like, I ended up having to farm way more materials than I needed because I just needed rupees and orichalcum. Those are 2 of the things that gate you the most. So I actually have quite a stockpile of just materials here. And of course, as far as the weapon bonuses go, my core weapon bonuses not complete. You can see I'm missing 2 for swords, but everything else is done, which is of course good. And then blades, missing 4. Obviously not looking very good, but the blades, unfortunately, just haven't been looking good. Where's the skill damage worm print? And then when it comes to daggers, of course, that's going to be done. As well as for axes. Lance. I'm missing a lance. That surprised me. I forgot I was missing a lance. We may have to check that out and see what's up with that. All right. And then for bows, looks good. Looks complete here. Wands, I am missing 1. And staves, I'm missing 4. Staves haven't been a priority for me. They're used in pretty much everything, so maybe they should be, but I just feel like the margin of failure is not tight enough that you actually really need to invest in this very highly. And then mana casters I invested in a lot in the core because I didn't have a lot of mana caster tablets, so that was a good place to spend Damascus ingots. Alright, so let's check out the core weapons. Let's see what's going on with the lance situation down here. Oh, they're all 50 nodes, so I just forgot to unlock one of these weapon bonuses, I guess. That must be what's up. That one's good. Spear of the Northern Cross. Aha! Alright, well, we got to do this together. Okay, I never knew I was tanking everybody with my Gala Mim and Morsiati, but apparently I was. Alright, so weapon bonuses was very painful, I'm not gonna lie. It's too much, I think. I don't know if they're gonna make it easier in the 2.5 year anniversary or it's gonna take until the 3rd anniversary. Like how they sort of blew open the high dragons as something that you farm, and they made it significantly easier. I think Agito is almost ready for that. Like maybe it's the 3rd anniversary, not the 2.5 year anniversary, because by 3rd anniversary there will be more of the Sinister Dominion fights, hopefully. But frankly, like the combination of needing so much Orichalcum, 30 per weapon bonus, plus 10 million rupees on these unbinds, or I don't even know anymore if it's like 7.5 million. It's a lot. It's too many rupees. It's so many rupees that like I'm done with my farm for now, but you can see the amount of excess materials I have. Like, you know, I have 1,100 of these Tartarus materials, which I'm never going to use. I may use them eventually, but like, do I really need this many Kayan materials? I'm pretty much done with Kayan now, and I still have this many excess materials. I'll probably use a lot of these on the 9th Unbind, but like, it's too much. Look at this. 1,600 of these. This is just obscene. So I really hope they scale back the grind, because I think that the players that wanted to grind this much have had an opportunity to do so, and a lot of the other player base out there is like, they're not about the grinding life in DL. You might want to build 1 or 2 characters, maybe at most make weapon bonuses for like 1 or 2 weapons that they really like to use in co-op. But unless you're like a solo enthusiast and you're trying out lots of different solo compositions with lots of different weapon types, then you really want these weapon bonuses. I don't know if this is really palatable for a lot of folks. So obviously, if you kind of look at this, like one of my big weaknesses right now is Tartarus Expert, so that's probably going to be a next area of focus for me. Some of this other stuff like the twins and Ciela, I'm not at all worried about because that's pretty easy to auto. Tartarus Expert's not been something I've autoed. The reason I have so many master materials is because Tartarus Master's a very efficient Orichalcum farm. With your Karina Mitsuba comp, you're looking at 20 to 40 seconds. It's really a breeze. And similarly for Kai here, the Veronica Mitsuba comp is a really good Orichalcum farm, especially you go half Gather Wings, that's really nice. So basically I overfarmed these just for the sake of Orichalcum, so the ratios on this is all screwed up. And the reason I have so many Ciela is because Master Ciela is the easiest by far to auto of the Master Agito. And so that's, again, just for the sake of getting more and more Orichalcum. Yeah. Things are all out of whack. Obviously, I don't have a lot of recovery items left. And in particular, this hurts because Lilith is only going to be solo. So not planning on clearing out Lilith all that quickly, but I'm going to definitely check it out. Probably my plan for the next month or 2 is going to be like solo Lilith, co-op Morsiati, and also solo 1 Legend Agito per week. I'm pretty much on like the 1 Legend Agito life, and it's easier in solo than co-op, so that's what I do. Otherwise, like my other weapons, one of the things that I would suggest is, unless you're playing pre-2.0 and you already had spent ingots on these, like I have in some cases, when you're going to see 70s here, in general, when it comes to these other weapons, like 55 is the amount of unbinds, or yeah, the amount of nodes that you want, and 5 unbinds is how many you want to get the weapon bonus, and that's the only permanent benefit you're really going to get out of these. Yes, the high dragon weapons, technically, in some cases, they're a little better for AI because otherwise AI toggled the Agito skill on and off. But now that Lilith is coming up and we know we're going to have 2 extra slots specifically on light Agito weapons, and then in the future on other types of Agito weapons, but not high dragon weapons, like I think that will eventually outweigh any benefit you would get from the lower stat high dragon weapons, just for the fact that it's 2 extra Wyrmprint slots. I think you can do a lot with that. So yeah, I think that anything else that's not Agito, you just leave it at 55. Anything that's at 70 here was a mistake, but basically an unforeseeable mistake because it happened pre-version 2.0 when they introduced the new weapon system. But those are all good. And then same with the Chimera Tech. Like some of these are at 70 for the same reason that I had already built them out beforehand, or in the early days of 2.0, I didn't even realize and just thought I had to go to 70 node to get the bonus out of them. But you really don't. You just need to go to 5 unbinds, 55 node, get the bonus, and you can move on. And with Voids, I actually don't have most of these Void skins. But when it comes to abilities, the main things I've unlocked are just the Bane abilities for the high dragons. I don't really find Astral Banes to be of any particular importance, so I haven't unlocked those. But for every weapon type, of course, gotta go with the Bane ability against the high dragon. Just make your life a little easier with your gold Fafnir autos. And especially as of late, one of the autos I do most often, if we go here to the core weapons, you'll see that like after you overcome the Rupee Gate and then after you overcome the Orichalcum Gate, another gate you're going to have in trying to do these weapon bonuses is twofold. The Sand Gate and the Core Gate, the Crimson Core Gate. Right now I'm on this Crimson Core Gate. I have enough sands to do easily 5 extra weapons, or at least 4 when you count unlocking the weapon bonus. I guess a little bit less than that. Or no, actually, it's 25 Crimson Core that the weapon bonus costs, not 25 extra Twinkling Sand. So basically I have enough sands here to finish the sword weapon bonuses, because I'm only missing 1 weapon, and then like also do the staff weapon bonuses as well. Or wait a second, did I forget to unlock one of these also? I just realized this. We saw only 4 of these, right? Yeah, I forgot to unlock one of these also, so we can take a look. It only costs 1 sand, but it costs 25 cores. All right, so we'll get this too. Again, I apologize. My Galacleo was tanking everybody in Morseati, and I didn't even realize it. But yeah, it's very expensive, and honestly kind of painfully expensive. Like, I think the amount of effort to do this is just not going to be worth it for a lot of players. And I don't really know what will change with Dragalia, because it is inherently sort of a grindy game. Thankfully, you don't need this for all that much stuff, and having 2 extra Wyrmprint slots should help you with stuff like Omega 3 raid battles and solos, because that's some of the hardest limited time content right now. But like, as you can see, I need so many cores. So what I was going to say earlier is, right now, if I want to farm rupees, I can get 300k plus several Crimson Core by doing standard high dragons. And that's probably what I'm going to do with excess stamina that I just need a place to spend quickly. So yeah, that's kind of my whole weapon situation. I don't know if I flipped through all of these yet, but you can kind of infer what's going on here. And finally, let's take a look at the Halidom. Morseati is the one area where my progress has really been stymied. I just can't bring myself to play that fight very much. Even though every time I have like 4 wings up, it feels like Morseati is the only thing I really should be doing right now. It's too repetitive for me, and the Mim comp with Mim, Templar Hope, Galacleo, and Grace, Ramiel, it's so dominant over every other setup I've tried that it just feels bad to use other teams and not be as successful. That's my experience with it. And you notice if somebody is doing something slightly off, because like Gauna and Krenna doesn't really work with Gala Mars. That's not a combo. So your recharge zone doesn't affect you at all for the Mim players, and it's just kind of like a feel bad. So mixing and matching is kind of hard. So I haven't really loved Morseati that much, despite, you know, the good music and everything. But this is my Halidom. I kind of scaled it back a lot. I used to have the jam-packed Horror Vacui style Halidom, and now I only place 1 of each facility. So, for example, if you look at these dojos, they're 35, you know, nothing special. That's the level they were at before Morseati released. Of course, have to have the bow at max level at 40 for Eleonora. But then if you look in the storehouse, of course, the level 40 one's already done, so I just put those in the storehouse. So I have every weapon type with at least 1 level 40 dojo, and bows have 2 level 40 dojos, and the other weapon types have level 35. And also for the altars, for the altars I'm not quite as developed. Flame and Shadow are elements I felt I could totally ignore, because Kaiyan on Legend, Volk on Legend, you don't need extra stats to really take them on. They were released a lot earlier than future Legend fights. So all my rainbow orbs have gone toward water, light, and wind preparation, because I am gated on rainbow orbs, another gate that you'll learn of if you haven't already. So if you look at the altars that are placed here, this water altar is after I've maxed out one of my water altars, and I just can't progress any further. I don't have any more water orbs to use of significance, so hopefully they let you trade down the tier 4 eventually. With light, again, like, I can't progress any further on this. Maybe if they rerun Monster Hunter, I can farm rainbow orbs and farm some of these, but I'm also not a player who would spend Wyrmite to refresh my stamina or Gatherwing, so like, when I farm, it's just going to be with whatever honey I have from the defensive battle event. Basically, that's it, and we'll see how far that gets us. Flame and Shadow, I did a few levels on early in the Morsayati release window, but at this point, I don't even touch these, even though I could with a few Morsayati clears, because I want all my rainbow orbs to focus on these other 3 elements where there's harder difficulty content on the horizon. And somehow Wind, I was actually able to push pretty far, but this is actually getting a little better than I thought, but I'm still too far bankrupt on this to actually finish out Wind, so sadly Eleanor is missing 2 Wind altar levels. And in case you're wondering about Ruby Mines, haven't even touched them past level 40. That's just not going to happen until I finish the light altars. So Morsayati, again, it's a very big grind, but compared to the weapon grind, it's actually very insignificant. The rainbow orbs can be grinded, farmed on lower difficulty content, like the raid we had for Persona, like the Monster Hunter raid, whereas the Nature's Blessings items, you have to get those from Morsayati, but you only have to clear it less than 200 times. I wish I could say that about some of these Agito battles, man. It has been a gruel. A gruel? That's not a noun, is it? A grueling slog? Anyway, here we are. So I feel prepared. I have all the weapons I need to have. I think I have pretty good characters, so we'll see how it goes this Friday with Lilith's Encroaching Shadow. I'm pretty excited about it. Of course, before then, I'm excited about checking out our facility event. But that is going to do it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this look at Lilith's Encroaching Shadow, as well as what's going on with my collection progress as of late. Thank you as always for watching, take care, and I'll see you next time.